and with the Department of Homeland Security. Before public service, he served as Chief Security Strategist Office for eBay and Microsoft. Quite a bio you've got there. This cybersecurity hack that we saw last week, does it threaten the retail industry or does it have much wider implications?
I think it has wider implications, and not so much the $160 million that you talked about, because that's sort of spread out over a 3-year period through this. And when you look at the big numbers, you know, it's not the biggest thing in the world, but just the lack of confidence in the infrastructure. You have this incident take place. You have a lot of intellectual property being stolen by companies. We have the disclosure about U.S. government involved in these things, and it all goes down to how secure are our computer systems that run our lives on a daily basis.
Well, what's striking to me is how widespread it was. It was across the globe. It was enormous, and it was many years in the making. How sophisticated have hackers gotten? How sophisticated have the hackers gotten, and how on earth did this happen?
Well, that's the really bad thing about this. It's not that great technology or there's some advancement they've made that sort of overwrites all the security controls we have. It's just fundamentally in the business we're not doing some of the basics. For one of the things that we've seen over the years, it used to be computer systems used to be well protected like a castle with a moat around it. But now in order to conduct business, and appropriately so, you have to open up all the doors. You have to let customers in, you have to let other businesses in, and they have vulnerabilities in their computer systems because of software code that's not being written properly or programs. And so somebody gets a foothold in a home computer system, which then gives them a foothold in a business, and it just sort of grows like wildfire in there. So it's not that we don't know how to do it, is we don't implement, we don't do the good cyber hygiene we need to do.
Can I ask you a simple question? Are we really protected against somebody that really wants to hack us?
No, and therein lies the issue. So what we're discussing now represents about 85% of the successful intrusions in the systems. The other 15% are the dedicated nation states, really hardcore criminals that are not looking necessarily to do something now that's going to make news, but 5 years down the road may be able to shut off our electricity or hold a company in effectively digital hostage so they can extort money out of them.
Well, the fear here is that it goes beyond theft and it goes beyond retail. In a separate but related incident, the NASDAQ was targeted. Could this actually be a serious threat to our financial system?
It could, and that's one of the concerns. I was in D.C. when the NASDAQ event started, and that's one of the concerns was identifying who it was that did it, because when you start seeing some of the things unfold, first they thought it was another country did it, and then it was, oh gee, it looks like an organized crime group did it, and then this thing keeps unfolding. But NASDAQ, even though we think of it in our terms, it has business processes all around the world. So you get in one of those, you start being disruptive, and that's one of the real concerns we have because of the economic impact.
Well, you're talking a lot about the cost of hacking. What about the value of hacking? With all of your work in the White House, we look at operations like PRISM, the NSA. Is there a value to this kind of, maybe you don't want to call it hacking, but intelligence?
Well, and that's one of the things that's caused a lot of concern here recently. So over the years, we've seen software vulnerabilities being discovered and sort of being the capture the flag type thing for hackers. Then we've seen them actually go up on auctions, like you see something on eBay. The highest bidder gets to buy the vulnerability and gets to keep it in their arsenal. And now we're seeing actually a market for this, where people will find vulnerabilities, governments buy it to use them for some future operation they have going. Other hackers buy it to sort of do this steal. Instead of stealing $10 million, they steal $1 million from $1 from 10 million people. So you start seeing people building it and actually making a business out of selling vulnerabilities.